Scottie Pippen has a book to sell. And speaking of spice, like Megan's over here dealing with bell peppers, Corey's with jalapenos. I at least am like ghost pepper. Scottie Pippen has gone full Carolina Reaper. I don't need to quote it all here because we're going to patch in the B-roll. But in his book, Megan, what's this book called again? I don't have the title off the top of my head.
I actually can't even think of it.
I'm going to find it. Hold on. Unguarded. So Scottie Pippen lets his guard. I'm just going to say, because I haven't read the book, but the title does not match what we've seen so far. Because Unguarded implies that he's letting his guard down. He's making himself vulnerable. And he might in the book, but the stuff we've seen so far is not about Scottie Pippen's guard. He's going on the offense. And one of his chief gripes is that The Last Dance, is it an 8-part or 10-part documentary series 10-part documentary series about the Chicago Bulls dynasty, is focused too much on Michael Jordan. Megan McPeak, my question to you is, who did Scottie Pippen think would be the center of a 10-part documentary series about the Chicago Bulls dynasty?
Like, I'm still stuck on the name of the book. Because,
again, in fairness, there might be other parts of the book where he lets his guard down, but this is pure offense here.
The name of the book made me think of this. When Michael Jordan retired and the pressure was on Scottie Pippen's shoulders, people could guard him. He was not unguardable.
Well, but the book is Unguarded.
Well, I'm just saying, that's immediately where my head went
so to. Maybe he would have scored more points if he were unguarded. Right?
Anyway, go ahead. I don't know. Oh man, Scottie, bro, come on now. Come on. Really? Really? Like, I get it. Michael was not for everyone.
Yes.
Much like the late, great Kobe was not for everybody. But just because he wasn't for everybody doesn't mean you need to make it seem like The Last Dance was supposed to be about you. Like, it was always going to be about Michael.
Yes.
Like, hello. If y'all don't have Michael, you don't get 6 rings, bro. Like, what are you, like, come on.
Yes, well, and like, so Scottie's upset.
You couldn't get into the playoffs without him in one season.
Well, that's the thing. And so Scottie feels marginalized when people describe him as the best teammate ever. But like, every fight, as Corey and I discussed, there's an A side and the B side. Every Batman has a Robin, blah, blah, blah. Like, any cliche you want to.
If I was an NBA player at that time and my, like, not notoriety, but I'm called the best teammate Michael Jordan ever had, I'm taking that as respect.
Listen.
Like,
I'm getting that tattooed across the back of my shoulders like a surname.
Come on. Like, at the end of the day, the way you see Mike and Scottie, like, there is no Scottie without Mike and there is no Mike without Scottie. That was a duo that needed to happen. That duo had to happen for certain things to happen in the history of the NBA. Like, there's a lot of reasons that Mike was Mike. Like, at the end of the day, you can't take that away. But he needed somebody of the caliber that Scottie was to be able to be Mike.
Yes.
Because you needed a Robin to your Batman.
Yes.
You needed that. He needed a kryptonite. And Scottie was that. Unfortunately, Scottie just has to die on the sword. Like, that is how you're always going to be looked at. If I had 6 rings and literally everybody wants, like, I'm okay with that. Call me the best teammate he ever had. Cool. Thank you. Because MJ had some really great teammates. Like, there's a reason they were able to do what they were able to do in the history of NBA, of the NBA. Like, in 75 years, they were able to do something that a team hasn't been able to do since. Mm-hmm. A team has been able to three-peat twice.
Yes.
Kobe couldn't do it. He got close enough. LeBron hasn't been able to do it. The Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry haven't been able to do it. Like, hello, bro, come on. Like, get off your high horse and just accept the fact that this was some of the greatest theater that we were able to take in at one of the world's hardest times that we've ever experienced in our lifetime. Just, like, sell the book in a different way, but don't throw him under the bus the way you are. Like, you're gonna rub him the wrong way and it's just gonna get ugly.
Well, the most charitable reading of the situation I can offer Scottie Pippen is that, like a lot of elite athletes, like he's not satisfied. There's always more. There's this drive always to want more. You win 6 rings, you want to try to get a 7th. You're going to stick around for however many years to try to get one more ring. So in this sense, like has his 6 rings, but he's not happy with the credit he has received.
Yeah, because he didn't get the contract he wanted. That's his own fault.
Right. There's that too. But also the fact that like he wants history to remember him differently. And there's always room, like there's the saying that all history is revisionist, because a lot of times we have to go back and look at stuff with fresh eyes and get a better sense of what really happened instead of what we thought was happening in real time. But one of these things that doesn't need to change is the fact that Michael Jordan was A and Scottie Pippen was B. And the fact too that if you plug in another superstar alongside Scottie Pippen, you don't get 2 3-peats. But if you plug in another superstar alongside Michael Jordan, you might still get 2 3-peats. Corey Erdman, why can't Scottie Pippen just accept this? This is to put it into boxing terms, this would be like now Deontay Wilder. All respect to Deontay Wilder, like put on an amazing performance in his loss last week, but this would be like Deontay Wilder coming out and saying, despite the draw and 2 losses, I am in fact better than Tyson Fury. Like, why can't Scottie Pippen just accept and take credit?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of fighters who have reacted like that, right? Because I understand that it's difficult to be good and be overshadowed by people who are great. Like I am the Luke Longley of this program.
At the very least, the Bill Wennington of this program, give yourself some credit. Like Luke Longley was a grinder. Like Bill Wennington would come off the bench with those follow-up dunks. Like if you guys remember early mid-90s basketball. And I say this as a man who was living in Chicago at the time, and there was a hamburger at McDonald's called the Beef Wennington, which I actually tried, and it was not bad. So give yourself some credit. Now, Corey would never eat the Beef Wennington because Corey's a vegan like Cam Newton, but...
That's right, yeah. Right. I need bigger hats like Cam. But you know, like...
Give me I can't believe it's not Beef Wennington.
That's right, yeah. The Impossible Burger, Beef yes. Wennington. So I understand, you know, but it must be even harder to be great and also in the shadow of greatness. It's like when Alexander O'Neill was in Prince's Inner Circle, and one day he's asking about money, and the next day his drummer is the lead singer of the time, right? Like it happened. Like I get it, but I mean there were very functional reasons why MJ is the focus of this documentary, and that was one of his main gripes was, hey, this documentary was unfairly focused on MJ, and MJ got a certain amount of money for this documentary. The reason for that, beyond Michael Jordan obviously being the best player and the most compelling figure in the documentary, is that he owned the rights to the footage.
Right.
He was the one that had to clear this footage being used in 2016. So even if you felt like there is a documentary out there that could focus on Scottie Pippen, clearly he does. He's going to write a book focused on himself. But even if you felt that, this documentary was never going to be about anyone other than Michael Jordan because the stuff belonged to Michael Jordan.
Right. So contrary to rumor, Scottie Pippen gets lonely too, but what do you make, Corey? Sorry, we'll go back to Megan. What do you make of Scottie Pippen? Because I feel like Scottie Pippen has a point here. I'm going to read the quote. In the doc, Michael attempted to justify, I'm reading this from NBC Sports, but this is something that originally came from CBSSports.com. In the doc, Michael attempted to justify the occasions in which he berated a teammate. Oh, this must be straight from the book. In front of a group. He felt these guys needed to develop the toughest to get maybe toughness to get past the NBA's more physical teams. Seeing again how poorly Michael treated his teammates, I cringed as I did back then. So this is Scottie Pippen watching Michael Jordan telling Scott Burrell to make a free throw. We'll bleep that out. He said, make a free throw. Stuff like this. And Michael Jordan said, that's just motivation. And Scottie Pippen said, that's just being mean. Megan McPeak, what say you?
Make a free throw. Like
yes, make a free throw. The point it ain't about the free throw. It's about punching people like honesty, Will Purdue and calling Will Purdue Will Vanderbilt because he didn't deserve to be named after a Big Ten school, which is what Michael Jordan told this man.
The way I see it,
yeah.
If Scottie cringed about that stuff, he would not have been on board with the way that they went at Tony Kukoc when they found out that Tony Kukoc was the beloved of the front office and was coming to the Bulls.
But he wasn't on their team yet.
That's what I'm saying. But it doesn't matter. If you were cringing at how he was treating your teammates, you would not have been on board with going after Tony like that. So like, are you just mad because you're just, airing your grievances now at Festivus? And you actually wanted more like shine. So this is your way of getting the shine. But at the end of the day, everybody knows that Michael was not the greatest teammate. He was not nice. He was not mean, but that is how he operated. And it worked for him. It didn't work for everybody, but that's why when you're like that, you have someone to lessen the blow. Kobe had Derek. MJ had everybody. If you don't just stop, that literally, that's all I can say to him is just stop, get over it.
It worked while Michael Jordan did it because it was Michael Jordan's team while Michael Jordan was still good. I don't know that style of teammating worked for old Michael Jordan when he had bad knees and was playing with the Wizards. But it worked back then. But Scottie does have a point, in spite of his motivational tactics, not because of his motivational tactics, but
he doesn't know that unless he's asking every single teammate.
Also
do a poll
on MJ's side. I will say this to your point. He wasn't necessarily a great teammate, but that's why he's not the greatest teammate ever. Scottie Pippen is the greatest teammate ever. They have different roles. And Scottie Pippen's role was at the time to be a good player and not to be
lessen the blow of Michael Jordan.
And not to be the jerk interpersonally that Michael Jordan was. Corey Erdman, sorry, go ahead.
One of the best quotes from that docu following the team around, AKA MJ, was when he was talking about how he was as a teammate. And he said it himself that he wasn't nice. Yes. And he said, that's just how I am. If you don't like it, then don't play with me. I'm obviously paraphrasing because I can't recall it word for word, but you get the point. He knew he wasn't a nice teammate. He knew, but he didn't care. If you don't like it, then go play somewhere else and you can lose it on some championships.
Corey Erdman, did the Bulls succeed because of Michael Jordan's tough love or in spite of it?
Well, I think they succeeded because it was Michael Jordan. And, Michael Jordan was great. And part of why he was great is because he was a sociopath. But being a sociopath doesn't make you a great teammate. It's right. Quite the opposite of that. Now, I don't know that we'll ever know, and the other players who aren't Scottie Pippen may not be willing to say whether Jordan's motivational tactics and how he treated them actually helped them become better players, whether his treatment of them actually did that, or whether Michael Jordan just being Michael Jordan and being Michael Jordan on that team helped them win championships. I think the latter is probably closer to the truth, and I do think that Scottie does have a point, but the problem is Jordan is just an utterly undeniable talent. And Bomani Jones was talking about this last week on his podcast. And he said, listen, the media will find a way. They wanted to tear Jordan down. Even to this day, when people are debating Jordan and LeBron, even people who are staunchly on LeBron's side as the greatest basketball player of all time, they don't actually have bad things to say about Jordan as a player. The best they could say is, he has good teammates. So he's so good that people have found reasons to try and tear this man down as a player, and they can't. And there are reasons to tear him down as a person, and it never mattered. So, I think that Scottie does have a point, but I mean, does he have those rings without MJ? No. Could MJ have won those rings with Clyde Drexler as opposed to Scottie Pippen? Probably.
Well, exactly. And again, it's the fact that he was that good and not any less good that kept him from getting punched out for acting that way. Because teammates realized, look, I could break Michael Jordan's jaw, and if he misses a month, we're all screwed. And you know what? We still got to win. We still got to get paid. We get paid. I got to get that playoff bonus. So I got my eye on a new backyard deck. Could a bunch of the Chicago Bulls, who Michael Jordan berated, could they have beaten him up in a fist fight? Of course.